Imagine waking up after 6 years of torture with no memory of what happened, only to realize the world has already moved on without you. That's the brutal reality Emily Byrne walks into in Absentia, a show that grips you from its very first minute. But here's the twist. Years after Season 3 ended, new fans are discovering the series on Netflix and immediately asking the same question. What really happened to Emily and who kidnapped her? Today, we're breaking down the entire Season 3 ending, the shocking truth behind her disappearance, and why the creators confirmed there will never be a Season 4. This is the full story behind the mystery, the trauma, the conspiracies, and the final fate of Emily Byrne. So let's dive right in, because this ending isn't just emotional. It completely redefines the entire series. To understand the end, we first need to unravel the beginning. Emily Byrne, once a fearless FBI agent, vanished while tracking a notorious serial killer and was presumed dead. Her husband Nick rebuilt his life, remarried, and raised their son Flynn with a new partner. But everything changed when Emily was found alive in a water tank, barely breathing. Her memory shattered. As she tried to rebuild her identity, she became the prime suspect in a string of copycat murders that mirrored the crimes she once investigated. The FBI doubted her, the media attacked her, and even her own family feared she might be dangerous. By Season 3, Emily wasn't just fighting the ghosts of her past. She was racing against a global conspiracy, and every clue led her closer to the truth about the person who destroyed her life. Season 3's biggest revelation struck harder than anyone expected. The real mastermind behind Emily's kidnapping wasn't a nameless villain hiding in the shadows. It was journalist Lori Colson. But Lori wasn't her real name. She was Logan Brandt, a woman who grew up with Emily in the same horrifying orphanage. And here's the cruel twist. Emily unknowingly switched their files as children, which meant Logan was subjected to years of gruesome experiments that were originally meant for Emily. Logan never forgot. She never forgave. Instead, she grew into a brilliant, patient predator who waited for the perfect moment to destroy Emily's entire life. With the help of Conrad Harlow, she recreated the same torture from their past, turning Emily into a living experiment and framing her as a murderer. Logan's plan wasn't just to hurt Emily. It was to erase her completely. She wanted Emily to lose her family, her reputation, and even her own sense of self. This psychological warfare explains Emily's violent episodes, her fragmented memories, and the nightmares that haunted her across all 3 seasons. Logan recreated the exact torment of their childhood, injecting fear into every corner of Emily's life. But Emily, hardened by pain and sharpened by years of surviving the unimaginable, began to see through the lies. With each flash of memory and each piece of evidence, she realized this wasn't just one person acting alone. A larger network of powerful people was involved, hiding behind political and medical institutions. Season 3 pushed Emily to the edge, forcing her to decide who she could trust and who she couldn't. One of the few people Emily could rely on was Special Agent Cal Isaac. Cal wasn't just another agent. He was someone who understood her trauma because he carried his own. Their connection went deeper than partnership. It became a lifeline. As the conspiracy spread across borders, Cal helped Emily confront the possibility that she wasn't just a victim, but also a weapon trained by trauma. Season 3 explores a darker, more self-aware version of Emily, one who recognizes the violent instincts that saved her life, but also isolated her from everyone she loved. Cal didn't try to change her. He helped her sharpen the parts of herself that made her dangerous. And as she uncovered the conspiracy's global reach, Emily realized she might not be able to protect her family unless she disappeared again. This leads us to the emotional core of the finale. Emily faced an impossible choice: keep fighting the conspiracy and risk her son and Nick becoming targets, or sacrifice the life she rebuilt to ensure their safety. In a heartbreaking but powerful moment, Emily, Nick, and Flynn agree on one final desperate plan: faking their deaths. By staging their drowning, they disappeared from every database and escaped every enemy hunting them. It was the only way to give Flynn a future free from fear and to allow Nick to reclaim the quiet life he always wanted. Emily didn't choose this path out of defeat. She chose it out of love. Only after ensuring her family's freedom did she allow herself to step into a new identity, far away from the home that once rejected her. But Emily didn't vanish into obscurity. Instead, she began a covert life in Europe, training as an undercover operative. This wasn't just a new job. It was the first time Emily truly accepted who she had become. No longer running from her past, she used her trauma-forged instincts to help others and take down the same kind of networks that once destroyed her. In many ways, her transformation into a shadow operative was the natural ending to her arc. She could never return to a normal life. She could never fully undo the violence inside her, but she could turn it into something meaningful. And that's what made the final scenes so powerful. Emily finally chose her own path, free from manipulation, free from guilt, and free from the shadows that once consumed her. As for Cal, the finale carefully leaves the door open. Emily reconnects with him overseas, hinting that their partnership, and perhaps something more, may continue. Fans loved this because Cal never tried to fix her. He understood that Emily's resilience came from the darkest parts of her life, and he respected it. Their reunion wasn't a cliffhanger. It was a promise, a quiet signal that even in her new world, Emily wouldn't be alone. But make no mistake, the ending is meant to feel complete. Emily isn't coming back to Boston. She isn't reclaiming her FBI badge. She isn't returning to her old family dynamic. She has evolved beyond every version of herself we saw in Season 1. And that's exactly why the creators chose to end her story here. So the big question becomes, will there ever be a Season 4? The answer is a firm no. Stana Katic herself confirmed it, saying the show was always meant to last 3 seasons. She described the ending as the perfect final note for Emily and her loved ones. And honestly, she's right. Dragging the story further would weaken what made Absentia so powerful. It's tight, psychological, character-driven storytelling. The show ends when Emily finally finds peace. Not the peaceful life she once dreamed of, but the kind forged by surviving hell and reclaiming her identity. That's why, even years later, the ending still hits hard. It doesn't just wrap up the mystery, it completes Emily Byrne's transformation. And now that Absentia is streaming on Netflix, millions of new fans are experiencing this emotional journey for the first time. They finish Season 3 stunned, devastated, inspired, and desperate for answers. But the truth is, the show ended exactly where it needed to. Emily's kidnapper was Logan Brandt. Her scars became her strength. Her family escaped into a safer life, and Emily began a new chapter on her own terms, finally free. That's what makes the ending unforgettable. Not the action, not the plot twists, but the evolution of a woman who refused to be defined by her trauma. If you're watching Absentia for the first time, or revisiting it years later, the finale reminds us of one thing. Sometimes the most powerful ending is the one that lets the character walk away.